When did you decide that living in the Amish community no longer served who you were?
So I would say always knew growing up, like it wasn't in alignment with who I'm. Like you just know things. But when I really
Sure.
made the decision is when one of my best friends was killed in a buggy accident when I was 16.
Ooh.
And that solidified my decision going through that process. I'm like, all right, I'm out. It's no longer. That's where I knew like I needed to get out.
Sure. I interviewed someone just recently who got into a car accident, and she called it her brick wall moment when she realized life is so short. So I kind of feel like the buggy incident was your brick wall moment when you just said life is too short for this.
I think it was that and a mix of an awareness of what the Amish culture really is. So those that have never lived inside of the culture, they think the culture is very peaceful and, this very community
Yeah.
aspect. And it's not. The culture is very much a lot of trauma, abuse that the rest of the world doesn't see unless you're actually have been born and raised in the culture. You don't know what goes behind the scenes. And a lot of that abuse and trauma never gets reported because it's such a close knit community. So I think that was more of my awakening during that time.
Wow. Okay, yeah, you're right. Because we would go and visit as a tourist and it just looked so idyllic and beautiful. And I would get the shoe fly pie. And I was like, wow, what a beautiful life. You don't think because you don't know about trauma or anything that was going on. So, what gave you the courage? Because from what little I know, you've been shunned then, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. So I got to a point where I don't know that it was necessary. Looking back, it was probably some courage, but I think I like got to the point where it was like my only option. I didn't have an option, so I could either stay there and be a mom and be controlled because it's very much male dominant world. Women don't have a
Sure.
choice or a say so. So it's like I either do that or I take the leap of faith and completely exit everything that I knew. So it was kind of like one of those things where I'm like, okay, I got to make a choice. And then once I made that choice, a lot of it was solidified by your family gaslights you. The community comes in and gaslights you to try to get you to stay, to control, because it's a cult and like they want to control to keep their people there. So I feel like at the moment it was kind of more of a survival, like I need to get out for my own survival versus the courage aspect, even though, yeah, it took some courage, but I was very much in survival mode, just trying to find my way out.
So, how did you do it?
How did I do it?
Yeah,
That's a
just out of curiosity. Did you
yeah.
did you leave in the middle of the night? Did you save up money? Because it must have been hard.
Yeah, yeah, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. In one of the in one it started with like a decision of it doesn't matter what the rest of the world says, and I went through this whole period, everybody sits down and has a conversation like you're going to burn in hell, like all this trauma, if you
God.
exit like there's no hope for you. That's their beliefs, right? Now, through healing and stuff, like I know I'm not going to burn in hell. Like there's a whole other side of that. But I made the decision to jump out of a two-story window in the middle of the night, and I never looked back. And I had a place to go on the outside, and from there, I went through a culture shock for a hot minute, but ended up getting my GED and then later graduating from Purdue and, built my career up in the corporate space and then later started my business.